Could a dog slay a god? These are the questions that keep me up at night, but today, I think I've found the answer. Welcome to Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader, a glorious RPG set in everyone's favorite magical space universe, where you get to play as a noble and brave rogue trader. Think of a morally grey Han Solo type working as a merchant for the Empire. This is of course a CRPG, so we have turn-based combat, branching narrative choices, complex morals, and even saucy romance. Except when a follower tries to sleep with you in this game, there's a 50% chance they're being possessed by the Chaos God of Slaanesh. Now, I am the Spiffing Brit, a professional breaker of games, and the developers have reached out after seeing my playtime in this game and asked if I can help break their brand new DLC. So yes, a developer themselves is sponsoring me to push their game to the absolute limit. But how can I break a game that sees you battle unstoppable aliens and literal manifestations of chaos gods? The developers have recommended I build a balanced team to overcome this game's challenges. But what if we just used a dog? What if we used multiple dogs? I mean, after all, the game's latest DLC added in familiars, so why not exploit the new system and create an unstoppable, unbalanced party? My goal is to create a dog so powerful, it can do infinite damage, infinite attacks, infinite movement. Only then can I say I have truly created the God of Dog. So let's find out if I can fight back the enemies of man using just good boys. So welcome to the Station of Footfall. As you can see, it's your classic 40k affair. We have large quantities of angry peasants who are slowly starving to death due to grain shipments being delayed. It's a hive of scum and villainy, and at the moment large quantities of protesting groups called the Anvil, who are basically space communists as they want to overthrow the divine nobility. And of course, as an imperial rogue trader, we can't stand for this nonsense. So we're here to see if we can put an end to all these riots over the food shortage, but also make a little bit of profit on the side. But before we get into the adventure, let me introduce you to the team. Of course, we have our main hero today, John Rogue Trader. The problem is, when creating John Rogue Trader, I've made them a noble rather than an arbiter, which meant that instead of being able to have a cybo dog, I was forced to have a bird. So this is our bird, he's called Dog. That way, I'm not lying to you when I say we have 6 dogs on the team. In total, our squad today will consist of John, Dog the Bird, Gromit 9000, Snoopy, Bluey, Battlecorg, and Chompus. The thing is, in order to control these dogs, we do actually need people to guide them, and so for that we have Von Tickleman, Evil Steve, Cruella, Sir Nigel Thornbury, and finally Blasto. Now we're going to be entering into the game at the beginning of Act 2. I've skipped the entirety of the prologue and Act 1 for you because it's quite possibly my favourite part of the game and I don't want to spoil it. It also allowed me to save up enough money so I could buy all these mercenaries, so that way we can have 6 dogs instead of using the completely overpowered pre-made characters. But I'm sure we can level up by doing a few quests to get this team just as perfectly balanced. So after asking around, we've learned a bit more about the station. Oh, and at the bottom we've got Bastion Corda. Yes, this is a noble of a different rogue trader dynasty, the Corda household. Hello, nice to meet you. Basically, he wants us to collaborate with another rogue trader dynasty in order to starve the people of this station even more to jack up the prices of food. A delightfully devilish plan that I'm of course open to. And he was just about to talk to us even more when suddenly he gets murdered. What a shame. That's very frustrating. The Anvils are here. These are the local peasants who are rising up on the station, and there's quite a lot of them. Some of them are armed with swords, some of them with guns and snipers. I mean, look at this, it's twice dead Lanny. He's got over 100 health and a sniper rifle. Most people on our team only have about 40 health. That's not exactly a good sign. But remember that today we're going to be fighting using our dogs. What we're going to do is have Sir Nigel Thornbury here demand that our Battlecorg apprehends this Anvil thug. So we're going to send in the Battlecorg, and away Battlecorg goes. Battlecorg bites and does 16 damage. That is of course enough to finish off that enemy. Next up, we're going to send Battlecorg over here to kill this Anvil thug. Go Battlecorg, go! And Huzzah, Battlecorg runs on over, and that's another 16 damage and another enemy defeated. Then we're going to engage Battle Mode Standby to give Battlecorg their own turn, meaning they get added into this lovely turn tree over here, right at the end. And their eyes glow red. As the owner of an actual Corgi, I can confirm that when they are in battle mode, my Corgi can shoot laser beams out of her eyes. So as you can tell, the game has classic turn-based combat. However, when you fully understand the mechanics, you can push beyond the normal limits of one attack and and 1 movement per character per turn. Dogs already tip the battle in our favor, as the game is balanced around you having 6 party members, giving you a minimum base of 6 attacks per turn. 6 familiars means 6 additional attacking teammates and 6 additional targets for the enemy. We now move on to the second turn with John. John is a noble officer, meaning that they're able to get more actions out of others. For example, I can target Sir Nigel Thornbury over here and say, hey Sir Nigel, I demand that you actually have a few more turns. And in this state we can have him do some additional actions. Potentially, if we had enough action points remaining, we could even have Battlecorg fight again. Now, as my opening move, I'm going to have the lovely John Rogue Trader fire off a sniper round in this direction, which has almost finished off this thug. Then I will be using my Birdo here to obstruct the vision of these peasants. Go, Birdo, go! So Birdo swoops on in, of course Birdo is called Dog, and then jumps on in and kills 2 of these people. Oh no, it doesn't! The enemy parried, how dare they? Anyway, the enemies are going to get themselves set up and do their best to try and damage us. Oh look, it's time for Von Tickleman to attack. So Von Tickleman here can of course choose to send his doggo out to fight, but in our case we have a shotgun, so that means I'm going to run straight up to the point blank of the enemy, aim my shotgun like so, and whabam, there's 2 dead people. Then I'm going to be able to send my lovely battle doggo out to fight this armored enemy. Go, Gromit 9000, do a splendid job. Lovely, that's 20 damage. And once again we'll set him to be on battle standby mode, so he gets an additional turn. Sometimes I do wonder where we get these dogs from. I mean, you know, they are kind of going onto the front line. It's not like you could go up to a regular dog breeder and be like, hey, can I have a dog, and send them to the front lines of the permanent murder world that is the 40k universe. But even if you're offered, the one thing you never want to do is accept a cyber dog from a locksmith, because as soon as you take them home for the first time, they'll make a bolt for the door, and that's the last thing you want. Oh no, one of our dogs is getting attacked over here. Luckily they are relatively sturdy. I mean, they've got a decent amount of health, so generally speaking all things are going well. I will run Cruella over here and have them fire off a shotgun blast of their own. Very nice. And then I will be sending out my doggo to apprehend one of these enemies. Good job, Bluey, well done. Now, Cruella does have a very special weapon on her hand. This is the Bloody Pact. Basically, we can click this button and get 1 extra action point each turn at the cost of 1/4 of our health. This is useful because every time we use the Apprehend perk and send out our dog to fight, we can still cast it again provided we have an additional action point. So I'm going to have Cruella literally stab themselves in order to send out Bluey the dog, the beloved children's character, to go and murder one of these peasants trying to fight for better rights. Bluey doesn't care about your civil rights. Bluey wants to know what you taste like on the inside. Right, next up we have Blasto charging his way towards the enemy. We'll have him fire off a normal shot over here, lovely jubbly. And we'll send in the doggos. Go, Chompers, go. I don't even know if Chompers can actually get over there. No, Chompers doesn't have enough range. Well, Chompers, go again. There we go, Chompers. You're going to finish off that enemy. Lovely. Well done. And now we have our final companion, Evil Steve, the Blade Dancer. Basically, he just jumps into combat and starts slashing up people. Quite useful indeed. Even more so considering he can send his dog in to cross basically the entire map and attack the sniper at the back. There we go, lovely, 20 damage. That's basically the maximum damage that one of our dogs can do. So there we go, we finished all of our turns, but 2 of our dogs still get to act. Gromit over here runs on over and attacks this thug, and Battlecorg also gets to send off 1 attack. Now it's time for round 2.
On it.
That was a 95% chance to hit, John. What is this, XCOM? I'm sorry, I fire a sniper shot with 95% chance, but no, it's going to miss. Well, fine, I'll send in the dog to finish the job. Go, dog, go. Oh, and the sniper's trying to run away from Snoopy the dog. Sorry, Snoopy's not going to let you do that, friend. Snoopy's going to hunt you down. Alright, Von Tickleman finishes someone off for 42 damage, and then we're just going to try and send all of the dogs over towards the enemy boss, which is currently trying to run away very quickly. Good luck, Gromit's after you. So we've now got the enemy sniper surrounded by 3 dogs who are all taking turns trying to nibble at him. This is definitely what the developers intended for my gameplay strategy. Oh my goodness, this enemy's dodging our attacks. I can't believe it. That is quite a shame, but it makes sense. We are fighting a kind of mini boss here, and the stats on the dogs aren't actually that good. They're okay, but you know, at the end of the day, they are still just a robo dog. Oh, the sniper's trying to run away. Good try, but if you try and run away from a melee fight as a ranged boy, all of my units get to take turns trying to attack you. All right, now we get to round 3, and Sir Nigel Thornbury is going to finally finish off the heavy thug here. Go, doggo. Okay, that was 8 damage. That really wasn't good enough. Go, doggo, again. Come on, do it. Yes, 13. That's much better. Now, I'm going to use my ultimate ability over here to give Blasto an additional turn. This allows me to push up towards the enemy boss. Unleash dog. Go, Chompers. Oh, Chompers can't reach him because there's other dogs in the way. Chompers, go around. Good job. All right, well, I'll send Bird Dog in. And fantastic. I think Twice Dead Lammy is basically guaranteed to die here. As, yeah, he's going to try and run away, and all 4 of these dogs get a chance to attack. And there we go. Lovely. We did it. And oh my goodness, we get to level up. This is actually the most important upgrade of the game because we're going to be able to unlock a new ability. There's quite a few we can pick from, and the leveling up system is very complicated. If you're playing the game for the first time, it can be really daunting to work out what to pick, and so I personally recommend watching a build guide from the lovely creator Revan619. He has some of the finest build guides in the game. So yes, there's a few different little upgrades we can get here, like for example Bite, which is a damage dealing ability, or Growl, which allows you to intimidate an enemy and force them to deal less damage in return, or my personal favorite that lets you break the game, Advanced Tracking. This ability means that each cell traversed by the Cybermastiff increases the damage it deals by 2 stacks, and this lasts until its master's next turn. This is ridiculous. It is so broken we're going to be picking it up on all of our characters, and now when we get to fight the peasants we'll be even more powerful. So there we go, ladies and gents, that's our first bit of combat. Now one of the ways you get new items in the game isn't just via murdering people and looting it from their body. No, it's actually trying to convince merchants to give it to you. It's quite a fun system whereby any excess loot you don't keep can be bundled up and sold off to various merchants. And you get some pretty powerful weapons from this, like heavy rock saws. Rock saws are unironically for some reason one of the most powerful weapons in this game, despite the fact that they just look like an angle grinder. Now because these so-called activists have assaulted my dogs, I have no choice but to hunt them down, John Wick style. But before we venture out to track down that gang, we may as well enjoy the local culture. After all, this is an RPG, and I'm sure by doing a couple of extra activities, we're bound to get a little more experience. So I went to the local freak show to look at some aliens in cages. There was even a button you could press to zap them, and I electrocuted them all to death, before finding out that they were actually just humans in costumes. Oh dear. But on the bright side, I left no witnesses, and I helped settle the will of a dead space pirate at a funeral by claiming all of his money belonged to me. After all, it was clearly contraband, and don't you dare question the authority of John von Valancius. But yes, after our shenanigans, it's probably about time we track down this gang. And yes, thanks to our exploring, we've now worked out the grand hiding place of this evil gang. They're located inside of this dark hideout here, where we're going to do our best to defeat the enemies. That's right. And the thing you have to remember is that we've buffed our various animals by quite a large amount. We've now made it so that for each distance a dog runs, the more damage they will do. This big evil kingpin here is going to be the big boss. We've got a large amount of general thugs, some bodyguards, some instigators. He takes a step towards us, he chuckles, he spreads his arms open, welcoming us in. Your time has passed, all of you bureaucrats, the rogue traders, the aristocracy. Yes, we're all worthless trash, and soon we will all burn. And with that, he turns off the vent in the middle that is stopping this area from being flooded with toxic fumes, because his gents don't really care about the toxic fumes. We, however, do, as we're going to take 10 damage at the start of every round. Okay, so this is going to be quite a challenging fight. We've got a lot of enemies and some of them have a lot of health. This arsonist over here has 121 hit points. The actual kingpin has 187. These are ridiculous stats. How on earth are we even meant to defeat them? Well, I have a plan. I have Sir Nigel Thornbury. He started over here in the corner, but I've decided to run him over here. Why on earth would I do that? Well, it's quite simple. I can ask for protection. Protection is an ability whereby our battle cork is going to run on over to us, and provided I target myself with it, whilst this does cost 1 action point, the action point is refunded because I targeted myself and not anyone else. Because of that, our lovely battle cork has managed to cross some distance, although I forgot to cast advanced tracking before then, didn't I? Great, well that's gonna slow me down. Okay, well I did slightly beans this one up, but that's okay. I can still get some distance on the doggo, and the way I'm going to do that is by sending him out over to this kingpin here. Even though he hasn't traversed that many tiles this turn, he doesn't do any damage because he gets parried. Fine, no damage done on this first turn. This is a bad sign. For the enemies are numerous and they will now begin fighting back. goodness, they're in a frenzy. Sir, calm down. Well, it's okay, because Von Tickleman is here to do a little bit of a run and gun. We're going to run up behind these two enemies here and fire off a lovely little blast. Huzzah! That's a bit of grisly adjudication. Now we activate ourselves some advanced tracking on Gromit, and then we're going to actually chug ourselves a stim, giving us even more movement points. This is going to allow us to run on over here, and now with our additional actions, we can summon Gromit over to defend us. He will run that distance, do a little bit of damage. My goodness, I have quite a few action points left. He can actually do even more. Okay, I'm going to send him over here to deal with this enemy. Go on over Gromit, finish off this little gentleman for 34 damage. Splendid. And then as you've got 2 action points remaining, why don't you go up to the Kingpin? Go for it, Gromit. Traverse even more distance. And we get our attack off and wha-bam, 54 damage. Yes, that's my boy. We'll give him a little bit of battle mode standby so he gets a turn of combat himself. Next up, I'm going to get the wonderful Blasto to move closer to the Kingpin. Then I'm going to ask him to take an extra turn, where he's going to be able to run closer to the enemy and cast advanced tracking before it's even gotten round to his turn. Perfect. Oh, we can even get an attack off. Right, I guess hit the boss. Go for it. Bam. Oh, and I accidentally shot my dog. Oops. Okay, so the Kingpin gets their attack now, where they have entered into a frenzy mode, and whoa, that's an attack that actually wasn't that impressive. Sorry, Mr. Kingpin. I really was expecting actually better from you. Fantastic. It's now Blasto's turn proper. Now we're going to be able to turn back on the ventilation, which gets rid of this horrible toxic cloud. As we can see, Chompers currently has advanced tracking activated because we managed to fire it when it wasn't even our turn. I'm going to be able to summon my doggo to protect me, and more importantly, have him traverse some distance, because I'm now going to be able to send him off over here to go and try and fight this enemy. Go on, go Chompers, go, apprehend him. You can't quite make the distance, but that's okay, because if I chug myself a stim, Chompers here can now reach this enemy. Go Chompers. Huzzah, that's 55 damage. Good boy. Yes, it turns out dogs are a surprisingly useful weapon. The fact that they just kind of build up momentum as the round goes on certainly helps, as the sky is basically the limit for the amount of times I can just make a dog run around. I of course would know, as I own a corgi. The problem with having a dog like a corgi though is that you can't take them to the park, as ducks will just start attacking them. It's the downside of having a purebred dog. Oh my goodness, look at them desperately charging us down, trying to attack us with their stupid puny weapons. So yes, Cruella's going to run on over here, concentrate her fire, and hopefully evaporate these enemies. I know, it's Chompers' turn, so Chompers gets to run around some more. He does another 55 damage. Very good, sir. And, well, unfortunately, it's not looking very good for the enemies. After all, my dogs are now running more distance each and every turn, allowing them to traverse the map and do 49 damage with one attack. And sure, if you're using an incredibly broken, overpowered companion, you might be able to do 49 damage per attack at this stage of the game. But I'm not using any broken equipment. I'm not using any amazing story characters. This is a random dude who I've just conjured into existence with a dog called Snoopy, a being that for some reason can do a ridiculous amount of damage to enemies that it logically shouldn't. Anyway, good job Snoopy, you did great. Gromit's going to finish off the boss, and that just leaves one gentleman over here. And there we go. The entire group of rebels has been thoroughly destroyed. We've taken care of the rising peasant gangs, and I guess technically by murdering a bunch of people, we may have sorted out the food shortage issues by there simply being significantly less mouths to feed. But this was all a little too easy for my dogs, and I want a real challenge. In the Cronus Expanse, in the first zone you jump into, there is an abandoned void ship. It is where a lot of players stumble into at the start of the game, and it's very easy to ignore. However, if you decide to go into the ship, you're in for a very rude awakening, as for many people playing on the hardcore mode, that is where your run will end. For you see, inside of the bowels of that ship lives a Forge Fiend, an absolutely massive demon of chaos that is an insanely challenging boss fight. It also just happens to look like a giant doggo, so I thought it would be quite fun if we could see if our regular team of doggos has what it takes to go up against an incredibly challenging boss. This bad boy has 276 health. It has a nice amount of armor, high damage deflection. Whenever this creature suffers damage the first time in a round, it of course becomes enraged and will start sending out retaliatory attacks. So yes, this is going to be quite an interesting battle indeed. I've tried to spread out my forces as much as possible because when the Forge Fiend decides to attack, he's going to be pretty terrifying. And yep, he's just going to waltz on up and we dodge. Good job, Von Tickleman. That's what I'm looking for. This servitor is going to actually run on over to Evil Steve, but thankfully he misses as well. And now is where the fun begins. We have Sir Nigel Thornbury with his trusty battle corg. What we're about to attempt here is going to be incredibly dangerous. We're going to run around the side of the enemy. We're then going to activate advanced tracking on our lovely battle corg, summon him to protect us. This means he'll do an attack on the main beast, who will in turn retaliate and do a ridiculous amount of damage. Ow! Please don't do that. Right, okay, let's try and deal with some of these little minions. Try and defeat this Vox Skull. Lovely, 41 damage, that's what I'm talking about. Now run back over here and defeat this Vox Skull. And there we go, perfect, that's 2 enemies defeated. You can now enter battle standby mode and get a lovely attack off hopefully by the end of the round. Now Von Tickleman gets a turn. I'm going to try and run quite a distance, then activate my distance advanced tracking, summon my dog to protect me, then I'm going to send Gromit in to attack this Forge Fiend. Go Gromit, there we go, that's 26 damage. The Forge Fiend does retaliate, but it's okay, because I'm now going to have you run over here and attack this Servitor. Get some distance in, Gromit. Good stuff, 32 damage.
Now the reason this boss fight is normally so challenging is because an unmodified attack from one of my characters shooting a gun at the boss would deal between 7 and 10 damage. Each time we attack the boss, he gets to retaliate, and that lets him do damage randomly to an ally. But they also come with an advantage. We have 6 more targets for the boss to retaliate against. This means we can stay in the fight far longer, and what is usually a run-ending boss is now just a regular fight with extra steps. Well done, doggos.
Now it's on to Evil Steve, who unfortunately is backed into a corner, but I'm actually just gonna try and fix this by just having Evil Steve run away. There we go. Right, Evil Steve, you've got a great action economy ahead of you. I'm going to activate advanced tracking, then I'm going to activate protect and have our doggo run all the way over towards us. Come on, Snoopy, good boy. Then I'm going to send Snoopy back towards this servitor. Get your steps in, boy, good stuff. He's going to run on over and do 31 damage. Very nice. Then I'm going to have Snoopy run all the way back and have him target this servitor just to get some distance in. Come on, Snoopy. Yes, this is good stuff. Get your attack in. Lovely. 41. And now finally, we will activate the stim. I'm going to give myself some extra actions, and this is going to allow me to send off Snoopy to attack the boss. Go! Let's see what you can do. Please don't dodge. Please do not dodge. And yes, it's 42 damage. You do get literally thrown back in return, but it's okay. So we can actually see how Snoopy deals damage here. Advanced tracking adds 34 damage onto our attack, which is very nice. It takes it up to a total of 39. The main reason we're not doing quite as much damage as we would probably like is down to the fact that we're fighting an incredibly skilled boss. Now Cruella gets a turn. This is going to be a good one. We've deliberately given Cruella 6 action points for this round of combat, which is very good. This is mostly down to the wonderful John Rogue Trader's abilities. We can put advanced tracking onto Bluey. We can then send Bluey to try and apprehend this servitor. There we go, that's a nice little bit of 25 damage, good stuff. We can then run our Rogue Trader all the way over here and activate Protect. Come on over, doggy, see if you can cross the entire battlefield to us. You almost can, that's good enough for me. So now we're going to send in our dog to try and attack the Forge Fiend. However, it's not going to do as much damage as some of our others, but 59 damage is still good, and then when the retaliation comes in, well, they get knocked on the ground. Okay, that means my dog doesn't get to do another action. Right, well that's a bit annoying. Oh, he did not like getting shot. Right, well I guess we see what happens next, because the battle cords are just going to run on in. He misses his attack. Great, and Gromit, can you do something please, Gromit? No, it's a parry. Oh my goodness. Oh, this fight. No! We've lost our first doggos. Yes, Sir Nigel's incredible doggo is down on the ground. Well, luckily for us, we can activate the reanimation protocol and bring back Battle Korg. Right, I'm going to be quite silly now. I'm actually going to try and fight back against the Forge Fiend. Let's go. Big shotgun blast. Wha-bam! The Forge Fiend, of course, will try and retaliate, and it will blow up one of our dogs. But thankfully, because we have so many dogs lying around, it's kind of okay, because they're not targeting any of our actual characters. I'm going to increase my movement points. I'm going to run as far away from the Forge Beast as possible. I'm going to summon my doggo to do its best to run on over towards me. Right, we've gained a little bit of distance, so I'm going to send Chompus on in to do a little attack. There we go, that's 25 damage. Do it again, boy. Go, Chompus. Yep, that's another 28 damage. Doesn't matter that Evil Steve got shot. Someone had to. Oh, now the Forge Fiend's looking weak. 19 damage, and you expect me to fear you? I think not.
There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We've proved that you can, in fact, beat an insane chaos entity by using large quantities of dogs. Of course, this build can go further. I want to truly break this game, and so I dived into the deepest depths of fairy crafting. I spoke to the wise elders of this game's community, and we found it, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why you should always be a dog person over a cat person. True power. Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to the Shard of the Holy World. We are significantly later into the game. You can tell by the fact that it's level 43 and I'm playing a completely different character. Yeah, I know, look, basically I went away and I did a large quantity of fairy crafting with Revan, and I said that there must be a way to have the dog do infinite movement. Now, at first it didn't seem like that was going to be the case. However, we discovered some pretty incredible things. Namely, you can eventually get this wonderful item here called Protective Instinct. This allows the ability of Protect to be used multiple times per turn. To make it balanced, the developers have added a +1 action point cost for each time it's used in a round. However, there's just one slight issue, and that's that there's a second item in the game that was discovered. This bad boy, the Ultrasonic Whistle. This is an item that says whenever Protect is used on the Rogue Trader, it costs 0 action points and has an unlimited range. However, this item is either bugged or worded weirdly, as it actually makes Protect free to use on any of your allies. So combine these two items and now we have infinite movement for our dog by using the Protect skill, meaning we can theoretically achieve infinite damage with the advanced tracking skill. Now, after fairy crafting this with me, the wonderful Revan decided to hand over his save file so that way I could show to you just how perfectly balanced we can make this. Still, we've come to this planet for one reason, and that's because it is filled with Chaos Marines. Yes, it's not exactly a good place to go on holiday. After all, there appears to be quite a lot of dead sausages indeed. So let's begin this battle. Welcome one and all. This is not meant to be an easy fight. This right here is a ferocious hellbrute. The bad boy has 943 wounds. He's also surrounded by Chaos Marines. Canonically, any one of these creatures could do a ridiculous amount of property damage. However, we have a few advantages on our side. We're going to start by immediately activating Overcharge, making our wonderful doggo even more powerful. Now this is where the fun is going to begin. As you can see, our Protect ability costs 0 AP, and we removed the range limitations on this. So we're going to target the furthest friend that we have, make Glato run all the way over to them, there we go. And just like that, he's covered quite a fair bit of distance. However, I didn't even activate advanced tracking. I should probably do that. There we go. So now every time he runs everywhere, we're going to be getting +6 damage per tile he's run. Then we can also activate the run ability, meaning that for just this one round, he can actually move through enemies, and every time he does, he applies bleeding to them. That's a perfect upgrade. Lovely. And now we can begin the fun. So our first move is to run our doggo back, have him charge all the way over to Solomon, and as he does, he's going to take this lovely pathway here. Oh, he can't quite reach him. Well, that's okay, because I can just cast it again. Come on, boy, run on over. And as he runs on over, he decides to hit the Hellbrute for 297 damage. What a good boy. We can then send him back over to our lovely assistant here. There you go, Glato. Run over to Jay, and Glato will run over, and whilst he does, he'll even make the Chaos Marine bleed. This cost us 0 action points. We can now repeat this and have him run all the way back to Solomon. And as he does, he gets to attack for 449 damage this time. You'll notice that despite the enemies not actually being able to have a turn to act, our lovely good boy doggo is able to cover any amount of distance, and Glato shall simply run on up to this Chaos Beast and murder him for 500 damage. Good job, boy. Now, if we want a breakdown of the damage we did, we can see our lovely doggo here. In total, advanced tracking provided 600 additional damage to our attack, and after the various defensive modifiers of the Hellbrute, that led to 516 damage. Absolutely perfect indeed. So now with Glato having run around so much, I'm thinking it probably made sense to send him after this Chaos Marine. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. This combat encounter was incredibly easy. I mean, when you think about it, because the enemy isn't allowed to actually take a turn and act, our dog is basically moving at the speed of light. And I do believe that if you were to put a dog inside of a Super Hadron Collider and endlessly made them speed up and up and up and fired them at something, it would probably die. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We've managed to go on a glorious adventure today in the fantastic world of Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader.
Warhammer. Of course, if you're new here, welcome and I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you're a majestic sausage who's been around for a very long time, well, you know who you are. You know you're incredible. And I hope you all have a majestic day. Now go make yourself another cup of tea. Otherwise, I'll be sending the Inquisition after you.